What if I told you that the greatest obstacle to manifesting your desires is how much you talk about your current circumstances? Your words are not just descriptions. They are decrees that shape your reality. Every time you speak about your problems, your struggles, your limitations, you are reinforcing those very conditions in your life. Neville Goddard, one of the most profound teachers of the law of assumption, revealed that creation is already complete. Everything you desire already exists in what he called the fourth dimensional reality. The only thing separating you from experiencing your desires in this three-dimensional world is your consciousness, specifically what you assume to be true. Most people unknowingly sabotage their manifestations by constantly affirming their current reality. They tell friends about their financial struggles, describe their relationship problems in detail, and focus on what's lacking in their lives. What they don't realize is that this habit of telling what's going on is precisely what keeps them locked in these unwanted circumstances. By the end of this video, you will understand why silence is one of the most powerful tools in manifestation, and how to redirect your focus inward, where all true creation takes place. You'll discover how to stop energizing your problems through conversation and instead embody the consciousness of already having what you desire. This is not theory. This is the fundamental principle behind every successful manifestation. So stay with me until the end, because what you're about to learn will completely transform how you approach the art of creating your reality. Welcome to Neville Goddard Files, where we bring you the most powerful teachings from Neville Goddard to help you master the art of manifestation. If you're ready to stop talking about your problems and start living from the end, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Imagination is not merely a faculty of the mind, a fleeting moment of fancy that entertains the mind's eye for a brief moment. It is, in its deepest essence, the very creative force that shapes the world you experience. It is not only the seed of creation, but the soil in which reality takes root, grows, and flourishes. To understand the power of imagination is to come face to face with the fact that you are the architect of your world. You are not a passive observer in the drama of life. You are the director, the scriptwriter, and the actor all in one. This, indeed, is the most profound revelation. Consider for a moment the events of an ordinary day. You wake up, perhaps in a bit of a rush, the mundane tasks and responsibilities waiting for you. As you step outside, you are met with the traffic that seems worse than usual. Someone's comment stirs irritation within you, and by the time the day draws to a close, it feels as though the entire world has conspired against you. But ask yourself, was the day truly worse than others? Or was your attention simply locked onto the things that were going wrong? Your perception, your consciousness, created that reality. Now, imagine an entirely different scenario. You wake up feeling grateful. You take a moment to appreciate the simple blessings that surround you, the warmth of your bed, the comfort of your breath. And as your day unfolds, everything seems to flow effortlessly. A friend sends you a message, an unexpected opportunity arises, and things simply seem to click into place. What changed? Not the world, not the circumstances around you, but your perception. You began to focus your attention, your energy on the good, and in doing so, you invited more good to manifest. This is the profound power of imagination, the ability to shape your reality through the conscious direction of your awareness. In the world of spiritual and psychological understanding, consciousness is the source from which everything flows. It is the great river of creation, and your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, these are the tributaries that feed it. The world you experience is a direct reflection of what you hold within. The external facts of your life are but surface impressions, shaped by the deeper currents of your inner assumptions. When you direct your attention to a particular thought or belief, you reinforce it. You breathe life into it. Your subconscious mind, the fertile ground in which all thoughts take root, hears your repeated mental patterns as instructions. Whatever you focus on, you energize, and whatever you energize grows stronger. This is why some individuals find themselves perpetually drawn into cycles of struggle, frustration, and negativity. Their subconscious minds, conditioned by years of focusing on their lack or their problems, perpetuate these patterns, bringing them back into their lives with unwavering certainty. It is not the world that conspires against them. It is their inner assumptions, their inner conversations, that create the world they experience. They believe they are merely describing reality, when, in fact, they are actively reinforcing the reality they wish to escape. But the good news is that the same principle applies in the opposite direction. Imagination is not limited to the negative. If you choose to focus on possibilities, on gratitude, on expansion, you begin to rewire your brain to expect and create those very experiences. The brain, that remarkable organ of perception, is like a muscle that strengthens with exercise. When you consistently focus on the positive, the expansive, the uplifting, your mind begins to recognize more of that in your life. The challenges that once seemed insurmountable begin to soften, not because they have disappeared, but because your focus has shifted. The nervous system, once caught in the grip of stress and overwhelm, begins to release its hold, allowing you to operate from a state of calm, clarity, and possibility. You may wonder if this means ignoring the challenges or pretending that everything is perfect. It does not. It simply means recognizing that challenges are not the defining elements of your reality. They are but temporary states, and what truly defines your reality is where you place your energy, where you place your attention. You are the one who chooses what to focus on, what to nourish with your awareness. This is the essence of manifestation. Imagining creates reality. It is crucial to understand that you are not merely a victim of external circumstances. No, you are the creator. You are the one who decides whether your thoughts and feelings will be governed by the outward conditions or by the infinite power of your own consciousness. The key is in recognizing that imagination is not a passive daydream, but a powerful tool for shaping the world you inhabit. Imagination is the birthplace of all things. It is the force behind every great creation, whether it be a work of art, an invention, or a life well lived. What you imagine, you become. What you feel, you manifest. The more you focus on your desired outcome, whether it is success, love, health, or happiness, the more you strengthen the neural pathways that align with those outcomes. You rewire your brain to expect what you imagine, and in time, the outer world rearranges itself to match your inner vision. In the quiet recesses of your mind, a constant dialogue unfolds. It is not the words spoken to others, nor the noises of the outside world that truly define your experience. It is the unceasing stream of thoughts you direct toward yourself. those silent conversations that shape how you perceive and navigate the world around you. These inner conversations are far more than just idle musings. They are the very blueprint of your life. Each thought, each belief, each assumption you entertain within your consciousness lays the foundation for the world you experience. You may not realize it, but the narrative you tell yourself day in and day out is responsible for the circumstances that appear in your life. What do you say to yourself when challenges arise? What assumptions do you carry about your worth, your capabilities, your future? These inner dialogues are not mere background noise. They are the creative force that shapes the reality you live. Your thoughts, repeated and nurtured, become beliefs, and beliefs, deeply ingrained in your consciousness, manifest as the conditions of your life. This is where the law of assumption comes into play. You may have heard the idea that what you assume to be true will become true. It is not just a nice thought or a hopeful aspiration. It is a law, a fundamental principle of how consciousness works. The world is not shaped by the facts you see, but by the assumptions you hold. If you assume that life is difficult, that opportunities are scarce, that people are not trustworthy, you will continue to create experiences that reinforce these assumptions. Your inner conversation becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, a cycle of belief that shapes the outer world to match your inner vision. But what if you were to shift your assumptions? What if, instead of focusing on what you lack or the problems you face, you began assuming that all things are working for your good? What if you began assuming that the opportunities you desire are already on their way to you, that the relationships you seek are already forming, that the abundance you long for is already present, waiting for you to recognize it? This is the power of assumption. By changing your internal dialogue, you change your external experience. It is no different than a seed being planted in fertile soil. The seed does not struggle or question its growth. It simply assumes the conditions of life are present, and in time, it blossoms. The same law governs your life. By assuming the best, you nourish your consciousness with the right thoughts, the right beliefs, the right assumptions. And in doing so, you set into motion the creative force that brings these assumptions into your reality. This is where your mental diet becomes crucial. Just as the body requires nourishment from healthy food, so does your mind require nourishment from healthy thoughts. What you feed your consciousness will grow. If you feed it with fear, doubt, and negativity, you will see those seeds sprout into circumstances that reflect those same qualities. But if you nourish your mind with thoughts of possibility, gratitude, and abundance, you will see your life take shape according to those assumptions. The choices you make moment by moment determine what you feed your mind. And what you feed your mind shapes the world you live in. This is why it is essential to monitor your inner dialogue carefully. How often do you find yourself retelling your problems, recounting the struggles of your day, or dwelling on the things that are wrong in your life? In those moments, you are not simply describing reality. You are reinforcing it. You are giving energy to the very circumstances you wish to escape. The subconscious mind does not differentiate between what is real and what is imagined. It simply accepts the images and assumptions you feed it. So, when you constantly talk about your problems or your struggles, your subconscious hears it as an instruction to keep those problems alive. The more you focus on what is wrong, the more you attract that very energy into your life. But the opposite is equally true. If you shift your focus, if you begin speaking and thinking about solutions, about opportunities, about your capacity to overcome obstacles, you are training your subconscious to recognize and manifest those qualities. It is not about ignoring the challenges that arise, but rather about choosing to focus on the solution, the opportunity, the growth. When you direct your attention to the positive, you align yourself with the energy of expansion and possibility. In this way, silence is not merely an absence of speech, but a profound tool for transformation. The true power of change lies not in the words we speak to others, but in the silent assumptions we hold within. It is in this inner silence, the quiet moments between thoughts, that real change takes root. The moment you stop speaking of your problems, stop defending your limitations, and stop explaining your struggles, you allow the shift to occur beneath the surface. You stop feeding the old narrative and begin to embody a new one. The world will not change because you talk about it. It will change when you embody the assumptions you wish to see manifested, when you align your inner dialogue with the reality you desire. You create a space for that reality to emerge. The external world is but a reflection of the inner world. To change the outer world, you must first change your inner assumptions. Consider the power of unspoken transformation. Just as a seed silently grows beneath the surface before it pushes through the earth, your assumptions and inner conversations silently shape the world around you. Change begins in the unseen, in the silence of your mind, before it ever becomes visible to the world. When you embody the assumptions you wish to see in your life, without the need for validation, without the need to announce your transformation, you align yourself with the creative force of the universe, and in time, the external world will rearrange itself to reflect the inner shift you have made. This is the secret of all true transformation. It happens in the silence beneath the surface, and it is in this silence, this stillness of thought, that you are free to create the world you desire. Chapter 3: The Spiritual Mechanics of Manifestation. In the quiet depths of your consciousness, a powerful law governs the unfolding of your desires. It is a law that is as certain as the law of gravity, and yet it remains one of the most misunderstood principles of our spiritual existence. This law is the principle of manifestation. What you are aware of being, you become. The very essence of manifestation lies in your awareness, for it is through this awareness that the world you desire begins to take form. What does it mean to be aware of being? It means to identify deeply and irrevocably with the version of yourself that already has what you desire. This is not a mere mental exercise. It is a state of consciousness. To manifest, you must first be the person who has already realized their desires. This is the foundation upon which the entire process rests. Your outer world does not change because you wish it so. It changes because you have become a new person in your inner world, one who already possesses the things you desire. Think of the process like this. When you wish for something, you are not yet the person who has it. You are still the one who desires, who lacks, who yearns. In that state, your wish remains a far-off possibility. But when you move from wishing to knowing, something profound happens. You stop seeing yourself as the one who wants, and you begin to see yourself as the one who already has. This is not a mental game. it is a shift in consciousness. In Neville Goddard's teachings, this shift is referred to as feeling it natural. To feel natural about a desire is to embody it fully in your imagination, in your mind, in your being. When you imagine the fulfillment of your desire so vividly, so completely, that it feels as though it has already happened, you are no longer wishing. You are knowing. You are no longer hoping for a change. You are simply aware of it as an already existing fact. This shift from wishing to knowing is the key to manifestation. It is the bridge that moves your desire from the realm of fantasy into the realm of reality. But how does this shift occur? How do you move from a state of wishing to a state of knowing? The process is both subtle and profound. It requires that you move beyond the limitations of your current identity, beyond the doubts and fears that say, "This is not possible for me." It requires that you let go of the past you have identified with, the person who lacks, the person who struggles, the person who is always reaching but never quite arriving. You must become the person who already has what they seek. This is where feeling plays such an important role. When you immerse yourself in the feeling of already having what you desire, when you let that feeling settle into your body and mind, the desire no longer seems like something distant. It becomes part of you. The feeling of having your desire brings it into the present moment, and in doing so, it brings you into the present moment of its fulfillment. The mind, which is the creative instrument of consciousness, cannot tell the difference between what is vividly imagined and what is actually experienced. The more you assume the state of having, the more the universe must rearrange itself to match that assumption. It is here that the bridge of incidence comes into play. Once you firmly assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the universe, your own consciousness, begins to arrange the events and circumstances necessary to bring your desire into being. This bridge does not require your active participation or effort. It is created automatically by the force of your assumption. The world does not need your intervention to manifest your desires. All that is needed is for you to persist in your assumption of the wish fulfilled. In other words, the bridge of incidence is the series of events, encounters, opportunities, and decisions that will naturally occur to lead you to the manifestation of your desire. This bridge is not something you consciously build. It is an unfolding, a natural progression of events that happens when you assume the state of the wish fulfilled. As you embody this new consciousness, the world must respond. But it responds according to the level of your conviction. If you waver, if you doubt, if you go back to wishing rather than knowing, you disrupt the flow. But if you persist in the assumption of your desire being already fulfilled, the world will naturally rearrange itself to align with that assumption. This is why many people experience moments of doubt during the process of manifestation. They may feel as though nothing is happening, that their desires are not materializing fast enough. But just as a seed roots itself deep in the soil, so too does your desire settle into your consciousness before it can burst forth into the world. The change is happening beneath the surface. The shift is occurring, even if it is not yet visible to the external eye. This process requires patience, not the kind of patience that waits for the external world to change, but the kind of patience that trusts in the unseen process of transformation. In these moments of quiet faith, when you are no longer looking for evidence or seeking validation from the outside world, the manifestation is taking form. When you stop questioning and simply allow yourself to live as the person who already possesses their desires, the bridge of incidents begins to unfold. Opportunities will present themselves, people will appear, circumstances will align, and you will know, without a doubt, that this is the result of your assumption. The mechanics of manifestation, then, are not as complex as they may seem. They are simple, yet profound. What you are aware of being, you become. The external world, in all its intricacies and details, is simply a reflection of your inner state. If you change the state of your consciousness, the outer world must change to reflect that. The desire is already yours. Now you must embody it fully and live from the state of fulfillment. As you do, the world will reveal the path that leads you to it. And so, the process of manifestation is not about force, effort, or struggle. It is about alignment, about moving from the realm of wishing to the realm of knowing. When you know your desire as already fulfilled, the bridge of incidents will naturally carry you to the realization of that desire. This is the spiritual mechanics of manifestation, a shift in consciousness that creates the conditions for your desires to emerge in the world. In the quietude of the heart lies the most powerful force of transformation. It is a force that is neither loud nor obvious, but its effects are undeniable. There is a sacred wisdom in silence, a wisdom that allows the unseen forces of creation to unfold without interference and without the need for explanation or validation. This wisdom is captured in a profound biblical principle: go tell no man. These words, spoken by Jesus in the Gospel, are not just a directive in a religious context, but a timeless principle that speaks to the very nature of spiritual creation. The act of revealing your desires, your intentions, and your inner transformations too soon disperses your energy. It scatters your focus. It diminishes the sacredness of the inner work that must take place in silence before it can be made manifest in the world. The power of manifestation lies not in what you say, but in what you become. This process begins in the unseen, in the quiet moments where you embody your desires in the sanctuary of your own consciousness. It is during these times of inward reflection that you strengthen the roots of your new identity, allowing it to grow in silence before the world is aware of it. Think of the silence as a sacred space, a period of gestation where your desires take root in your subconscious mind. Just as a seed does not announce its presence the moment it is planted in the earth, neither should your intentions be spoken too soon. The external world is a reflection of your inner state, and when you speak prematurely about your desires, you risk pulling them out of the fertile soil of silence and exposing them to the harsh light of external opinions, doubts, and resistance. In the act of keeping your desires within, you allow them to grow undisturbed. You preserve the energy of your transformation by not scattering it into the noise of the world. This process of remaining silent, of allowing your transformation to take place in the sacred space between conception and manifestation, is where true power resides. The world may never hear the whispers of your soul as it transforms, but your presence will speak louder than any words. Those who inspire you, the ones who exude a quiet, unshakable presence, understand this principle instinctively. They do not need to convince anyone of their change, because they have become the change. They have embodied it so completely that their very energy speaks for them. Their transformation is not a matter of declarations or explanations. It is a matter of embodiment. Their silent strength is what draws others in, what inspires trust, and what creates the conditions for their desires to manifest effortlessly. This is the power of the unspoken shift, the ability to hold your transformation within, allowing it to take root and solidify before you expose it to the outer world. When you speak too soon, when you prematurely reveal your desires, you disperse your energy. You scatter it into conversations, explanations, and reactions, none of which can speed up the process of manifestation. But when you keep your shift unspoken, when you concentrate your energy inward, you create a magnetic force within yourself. This energy, directed inward and held in sacred silence, begins to reshape your outer world automatically. The universe must align itself with your inner state, but only if that state remains undisturbed. This is not just a psychological principle, it is a spiritual truth. Our thoughts, emotions, and actions are deeply interconnected, and the more we focus on the external world, whether by speaking of our desires or seeking validation from others, the more we dilute the power of our inner state. The brain is not a fixed machine. It is a dynamic, ever-changing network of neurons that adapts to our thoughts, feelings, and experiences. Every time we think a thought, feel an emotion, or take an action, we strengthen neural pathways that shape our reality. The more we repeat these patterns, the more automatic they become. Most people, however, live their lives unconsciously. They speak before they think, act before they know, and reveal their desires before they have fully internalized them. This external engagement dissipates their energy and weakens the power of their transformation. But when you learn the art of silence, when you understand that the most profound changes happen beneath the surface, without the need for external validation, you can move with quiet confidence through the process of manifestation. This does not mean that you are passive. Far from it. It means that you are active in a way that is unseen, in a way that strengthens your inner world without interference. You are concentrating your energy inward, focusing on the embodiment of your desires, and allowing the universe to respond in its own time and way. The sacred space between conception and manifestation is where the work is done. It is where the deepest transformation occurs, and it is where you must allow yourself to remain still and patient. To hold your desires in the silence of your heart is not a denial of the world, but a deeper affirmation of it. It is an acknowledgement that the real work of creation happens within you. The world may not see the changes at first, but the shift within you will inevitably bring forth the changes you desire. This is the wisdom of divine silence. It is in the quietude of your heart, in the unseen work of your consciousness, that your desires are made manifest. The mind, much like the body, is capable of transformation. Its neural networks, those intricate webs of thoughts, emotions, and memories, are not fixed, immutable entities. They are, in fact, remarkably flexible, and in this flexibility lies your greatest opportunity. You see, the mind is a canvas, and every experience, every thought, every belief is a stroke upon it. The question then becomes, what picture are you painting? The process of revising, or mental reconstruction, begins with this simple yet profound understanding. You are not bound by your past. In fact, the very nature of reality itself is fluid. What you perceive as fixed, what you consider to be your history, is merely a series of mental impressions etched into the subconscious mind by repeated thoughts and emotions. These impressions form the neural pathways that shape your present state of consciousness. However, the ability to revise the past by consciously altering the impressions left upon the mind allows you to rewrite the script of your life. The neural patterns that once dictated your behavior, your beliefs, and your experiences can be undone, remade, and reshaped through deliberate mental effort. This is the transformative power of revision. Imagine, for a moment, that your past is not set in stone, but is, instead, a series of memories that can be reimagined. What if you could go back to a moment in your life that you wish had been different and alter how it unfolded? What if you could rewrite the script of your experiences to align more closely with the person you wish to become? This is the essence of revision, changing the mental narrative, altering the emotional charge, and shifting your perception of what has occurred so that it no longer defines you. This process, though subtle, is deeply powerful. Through revision, you are not merely reinterpreting events. You are reconstructing the very neural pathways that have been shaped by those events. By revising your past, you rewire your brain. And when you rewire your brain, you change your reality. This is the science of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt and evolve in response to conscious thought. The very same brain that once reinforced old patterns of limitation and fear now becomes the engine of your transformation. But this is not a process that happens passively. It requires active engagement, conscious effort, and above all, consistency. In the same way that a forest path becomes worn and clear by repeated use, the mental trails you have walked most frequently become ingrained within your consciousness. If you have repeatedly thought thoughts of fear, limitation, or doubt, those neural pathways have become well established. They are your default patterns, the pathways your brain instinctively follows. However, if you wish to create a new reality, you must begin to forge new paths. At first, this new path will feel foreign, uncertain, and even uncomfortable. It will require you to challenge the deeply ingrained patterns that have shaped your identity. Yet, just as a forest path becomes easier to walk with each repetition, so too will your new mental pathways grow clearer and stronger the more you practice them. And as these new pathways form, the old ones will begin to fade from disuse until they no longer hold the power to dictate your behavior or shape your reality. This is the art of mental rehearsal, especially before sleep, when the subconscious mind is most receptive. At this time, you have the power to impress upon your subconscious the reality you wish to experience. As you lie in bed, just before sleep takes you into the realm of dreams, you have a window of opportunity to plant seeds of new thoughts, new feelings, and new beliefs. In these moments, focus on the desired end result, the person you wish to be, the life you wish to live, and imagine it in vivid detail. See yourself already living that life. Feel the emotions associated with it, and know that it is already yours. This is how you live from the end result. To live from the end result is to embody the state of consciousness that would naturally result from the fulfillment of your desire. Instead of focusing on the lack or the distance between where you are and where you want to be, you must shift your focus to the end result. You must imagine yourself already in possession of your desire, already experiencing the reality you wish to create. In this way, you begin to rewire your brain, creating new neural patterns that align with the state of being you wish to embody. Living from the end result requires you to replace reactive states of consciousness with deliberate ones. Most people live in a state of reaction, constantly responding to the external world and allowing it to dictate their emotional and mental states. When circumstances change, so too do their thoughts and feelings. But to create a new reality, you must become the master of your state of consciousness. Instead of reacting to external events, you must deliberately choose your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. This is where the power of revision comes in. By consciously altering your perception of past events, you free yourself from the reactive patterns that have kept you stuck. When you take the time to revise your past, to mentally rehearse your desired future, and to live from the end result, you align your conscious mind with the subconscious mind, creating a powerful force that will inevitably reshape your external reality. Your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors will no longer be dictated by old, outdated patterns. Instead, they will reflect the new state of consciousness you are actively cultivating. Thus, the process of revision and mental reconstruction is not merely an exercise in imagination. It is a profound act of creation. It is the process of reprogramming your mind and body, rewiring your neural pathways, and reshaping the reality you experience. By consciously choosing new thoughts, new emotions, and new beliefs, you have the power to create a new future, one that aligns with the highest vision of yourself. The mind is not a passive receiver of impressions. It is a dynamic and powerful creator. It does not simply observe the world around it. It actively shapes that world by the thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions it holds. This is why guarding the gates of the mind, those portals through which every thought, feeling, and belief enters, is of paramount importance. The mind is a garden, and if you allow weeds of doubt, fear, or limitation to take root, they will grow and multiply. But if you carefully tend to the soil, planting seeds of possibility, fulfillment, and gratitude, you will cultivate a flourishing garden of abundance. To guard the gates of your mind is to take responsibility for the thoughts and beliefs you allow to take root. It requires the awareness to recognize when you are thinking in ways that do not serve your highest good. Most people live their lives on autopilot, driven by unconscious programs formed by early childhood conditioning, societal expectations, or past experiences. They wake up in the morning and immediately fall into familiar patterns, checking their phones, comparing themselves to others, or replaying past failures. In doing so, they reinforce negative neural pathways that perpetuate feelings of stress, inadequacy, and limitation. This is why awareness is the first step in protecting the gates of your mind. It begins with observing your thoughts and emotional states, noticing when they are in alignment with the reality you wish to create and when they are not. It is through this awareness that you can begin to consciously interrupt unhelpful thought patterns and replace them with more empowering beliefs. Imagine for a moment that upon waking, instead of succumbing to the reflexive patterns of stress and comparison, you choose a different path. What if, before rising from your bed, you took just a few minutes to consciously focus on gratitude, abundance, and possibility? What if you decided to mentally rehearse your ideal day, visualizing yourself moving through the hours with joy, ease, and success? By doing so, you you are not merely setting a positive tone for the day, you are actively wiring your brain to create that reality. Your thoughts are not passive observations. Every thought you think sends instructions to your brain, influencing your internal chemistry and, by extension, your external reality. When you focus on stress, your body releases stress hormones that heighten anxiety and tension. But when you focus on joy, your body produces chemicals that promote relaxation and well-being. This is the power of your mind. The emotions you generate in response to your thoughts are as potent as the thoughts themselves. They create an energetic frequency that aligns you with the experiences you attract. This is the essence of mental rehearsal, the practice of consciously visualizing the reality you wish to create. Athletes, performers, and high achievers have long understood this principle. They use visualization techniques to mentally rehearse success, imagining themselves thriving and achieving their goals. What they know, and what you must come to understand, is that the brain cannot distinguish between a real experience and one vividly imagined. When you imagine yourself succeeding, your brain fires new neural pathways, as if the experience is already happening. This is how you rewire your brain, not just by thinking positive thoughts, but by embodying the emotional state that corresponds with those thoughts. When you combine thought with feeling, you create a magnetic force that attracts your desires. But guarding the gates of the mind is not just about monitoring your thoughts and emotions in the present moment. It is also about detaching from external appearances and circumstances that contradict your inner assumptions. The world around you is not a fixed, unchanging reality. It is a reflection of your consciousness. When you allow yourself to be swayed by external evidence, when you react to what you see, hear, or experience in the world, you reinforce the old patterns of limitation and doubt. But when you choose to remain steadfast in your inner conviction, regardless of what is happening in the external world, you protect the assumptions that are shaping your reality. The key to detachment is to rest in the knowledge of your fulfillment. This is the profound concept of the Sabbath, resting in the certainty that your desire has already been fulfilled. Just as the Creator rested on the seventh day, so too must you rest in the knowing that your manifestation is already complete. The Sabbath is not merely a day of physical rest, it is a state of mental and emotional relaxation. It is the conscious choice to detach from any sense of urgency, any fear of lack, and any belief in delay. When you enter this state, you allow your desires to unfold naturally, without resistance or interference. This is the true meaning of faith, not faith as blind belief, but faith as a state of unwavering certainty in the unseen. To rest in the knowledge of fulfillment is to maintain a quiet, undisturbed awareness of your desire as already being fulfilled. When you are firmly rooted in this inner knowing, the external world will eventually align with your inner state. In the same way, you must protect your assumptions from contradictory evidence. The world may appear to reflect the opposite of what you have assumed. Perhaps you are waiting for a new job, but all you see are rejections. Or you are longing for a loving relationship, but your reality shows you only loneliness. These external appearances are not the truth. They are merely the reflection of old assumptions. To protect your assumptions, you must continue to focus on the end result, to live as though your desire is already fulfilled, and to refuse to be swayed by what the world shows you. the external world is a mirror, and it reflects back to you the image you hold in your mind. This is why silence becomes a powerful ally in the process of guarding the gates of your mind. Silence is not merely the absence of sound, it is the absence of internal chatter, of doubt, and of contradiction. It is the stillness that arises when you cease reacting to the external world and begin to center yourself in your inner knowing. In this silence, you align your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs with the reality you wish to create. And in doing so, you protect your assumptions from the corrupting influence of contradictory evidence. To guard the gates of the mind, then, is to become the conscious creator of your experience. It is to choose, in every moment, the thoughts and beliefs that align with your highest vision. It is to be vigilant about the mental atmosphere you create, to detach from the false evidence presented by the senses, and to rest in the knowledge that your desires are already fulfilled. When you master this, you will find that the external world begins to shift in response to your inner state, and the reality you have envisioned will come into being. Remember, you are not at the mercy of the world. You are the master of your mind. By guarding the gates of your mind, you protect your most sacred assumptions and shape the reality that awaits you. The mind is an ever-flowing stream, constantly being shaped by the thoughts, beliefs, and emotions that course through it. Just as a garden must be tended to, so too must the mind be carefully nurtured and protected. In the chaos of the world, we often forget that we have the power to control what enters our consciousness and what we allow to take root. But to truly master our inner world, we must understand the profound truth. Everything begins in the mind. The external battles you face, be they of circumstances, relationships, or material lack, are nothing but reflections of the internal states of consciousness you hold. In every moment, you are either creating your future or reinforcing your past. The state of your mind, what you allow yourself to think, feel, and believe, is the most important factor in determining the life you experience. But most people live unconsciously, swept away by external circumstances, acting as though they are victims of their environment. This is where the problem begins. They allow their thoughts to be influenced by what they see, hear, and experience outside themselves, which in turn shapes their inner world. However, the key to creating a reality that aligns with your desires is to take full control of your mental atmosphere. To guard the gates of your mind means to stand vigilantly at the threshold of your thoughts, carefully selecting what you allow to enter and what you choose to dismiss. The world is full of distractions, negative influences, and conflicting ideas that seek to pull you out of alignment with your true self. Yet, within the quiet spaces of your mind, you have the power to direct your thoughts. You are not at the mercy of external circumstances, but rather, you are the master of your internal state. If you wish to experience abundance, your thoughts must be rich with abundance. If you desire peace, you must fill your mind with thoughts of tranquility. The key is not to force yourself into a new way of thinking, but to train yourself to focus on the mental and emotional state of the person you are becoming. As you continuously practice embodying the feelings of your future, the brain and body align, and your thoughts begin to reflect the truth of your inner world. This is not about pretending. It is about tuning into the emotional frequency of the reality you wish to create. And over time, as these thoughts and feelings grow more natural, your brain rewires itself to make that reality inevitable. The world will often present you with evidence that contradicts your inner assumptions. You may find yourself in a situation that does not align with the vision you hold for your life. Perhaps you are striving for financial abundance, but your bank balance remains low, or you are seeking love but encounter only loneliness. In these moments, it is essential to remember that what you are seeing is not the truth. It is merely the reflection of a past state of consciousness, a projection of your previous beliefs. The external world is not fixed. It is fluid, changing, and responsive to the mind. To detach from external appearances is to stop identifying with what is. It is to stand firm in the knowledge that what you desire is already done, even if the evidence around you seems to say otherwise. This is the essence of faith, not the faith of blind hope, but a faith rooted in the understanding that your inner assumptions shape your outer world. When you hold firm to your vision and refuse to be swayed by what your senses present to you, you are engaging in the most powerful act of creation, the act of believing in the unseen. Your mind is the primary creator of your reality, and the external world is nothing but a reflection of your internal state. Therefore, when you find yourself confronted by a reality that contradicts your desires, the correct response is not to react, but to return to the truth of your vision. Your desire is already fulfilled in the inner world, and you must rest in that knowledge, allowing the outer world to shift in response. Resting in the knowledge of fulfillment is akin to the concept of the Sabbath, a state of peace, stillness, and absolute certainty in the completion of your desire. The Sabbath is not merely a day of rest. It is a state of mind. It is the conscious choice to cease from striving, to let go of any sense of lack or delay, and to rest in the assurance that everything you have asked for is already yours. In this state, you are not trying to force the universe to conform to your will, nor are you struggling against the tide of your present circumstances. Instead, you are allowing the flow of your desire to manifest naturally, confident in the knowledge that it is already done. This mental rest is not laziness or passivity. It is the active acceptance of the truth that all is well. The work has already been done, and now you must simply allow it to unfold. The Sabbath is a profound act of faith. It is the decision to stop striving, to stop seeking proof, and to rest in the knowledge that everything you have asked for has already been fulfilled. When you enter this state of rest, you are aligning yourself with the rhythm of creation, where your desires come to fruition without effort or struggle. This is where true peace is found, not in the external world, but in the inner assurance that all things are working together for your highest good. The world may present you with evidence that contradicts your assumptions. This is a natural part of the creative process. But when you hold a vision for your life, you must guard it from any external influences that seek to shake your faith. The key to protecting your assumptions is to remain unwavering in your belief, regardless of the circumstances. Your assumptions are the foundation of your reality. If you assume that you are abundant, that you are loved, that you are successful, your reality will begin to reflect these assumptions. But if you allow the world to convince you otherwise, if you let the doubts and fears of others seep into your consciousness, then you will find yourself caught in a cycle of contradiction. To protect your assumptions is to stay true to your inner knowing and to refuse to let external evidence deter you from your vision. The external world is malleable. It is a reflection of your consciousness. When you guard your assumptions and protect your vision from contradictory evidence, you are affirming the creative power of your mind. The more you maintain your inner certainty, the more the world will conform to the image you hold within. To truly protect your assumptions, you must cultivate silence. Not just the absence of speech, but the absence of doubt and resistance. Silence is the fertile ground in which creation takes place. It is the space where your inner vision can take root and grow. When you quiet the mind and cease reacting to external distractions, you open the door to new possibilities. Silence is not merely the absence of sound, but the absence of mental chatter. It is a state of stillness where your desires can manifest without interference. When you enter this space, you create an environment of receptivity where the seeds of your desires can be planted and nourished without resistance. In the silence, you are no longer reacting to the world around you, but instead, you are listening to the quiet voice within, the voice of your intuition guiding you toward the fulfillment of your desires. In the end, guarding the gates of the mind is about taking conscious control of what you allow to enter your consciousness. It is about detaching from external appearances, resting in the knowledge of fulfillment, and protecting your assumptions from contradictory evidence. When you do this, you are creating a mental environment that is aligned with your deepest desires. And from this inner world, your outer reality will inevitably follow. In the silent spaces of your mind lies the key to the transformation you seek. The external world is merely a reflection of your inner state, but few ever realize that the true art of creation begins not in action, but in the subtle and powerful art of assumption. To embody the wish fulfilled is not an intellectual exercise. It is a deeply felt experience. The reality you seek must be felt now, before it appears in form. And this is the profound secret that transcends all human limitations. You are not waiting for the world to change. You are living in the consciousness of the world as you desire it to be. Neville Goddard often spoke of the necessity of living from the end. But what does it mean to live from the end? It means that your consciousness must be that of the person you wish to become. Before the external circumstances change, you must first live your wish, and in doing so, draw that reality into being. It is the art of assuming, persistently, the reality that you desire, until it becomes so natural to you that you can no longer distinguish between the assumed state and your present experience. In this state, you no longer feel the need to justify or explain the future you are creating, because it has already assumed its place within you. The power of assumption is found in the present moment. It is not a future promise, not something that you wait to happen, but rather something you live as if it were happening now. To embody the wish fulfilled is to allow your consciousness to shift in such a way that you think, feel, and act from the assumption of your desire's fulfillment. And the most profound part of this is that once you truly embody that assumption, it becomes law, manifesting in the world in the fullness of time. Feeling is the secret, Neville would often say. But what does this mean? It means that the reality you desire must feel real to you now. Your intellect may doubt, may try to reason, may search for evidence, but the heart knows that feeling is the primary force that shapes the world. when you can feel the joy, the satisfaction, the peace, or whatever it is that represents your desire fulfilled, you are no longer operating in the realm of the limited mind. You are in the realm of creation. Most people get trapped in the cycle of intellectualizing their desires. They wait for the logical evidence to present itself before they allow themselves to feel the fulfillment of their wishes. This, Neville explained, is the fundamental error. If you wait for the physical world to change before you allow yourself to feel the change, you remain chained to the past. The past can only reflect what you have already experienced, but the future is not bound by such restrictions. The future is malleable, shaped by the present thought and feeling, not by past experience. So, how do you create momentum for this change? The answer lies in persistence. Every moment you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you generate a force that propels you forward. It is in the persistence of your assumption that your new reality begins to take root. Think of it like a seed planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. If you nurture this seed with consistent attention, with the persistent assumption that the desire is already fulfilled, that seed will inevitably grow and bear fruit. But without persistence, without repetition, the seed remains dormant, for it is the act of continually embodying your assumption that charges it with life. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. This biblical truth speaks to the power of the heart and mind in the creative process. It is not the thoughts alone, but the feelings and beliefs tied to those thoughts that shape the man or woman you become. You are not the sum of your past, nor the reflection of your current circumstances. You are the sum of the assumptions you carry about yourself and the world. It is these assumptions that create your future, and they are formed not by evidence, but by your persistent and unwavering feeling of their reality. To embody the wish fulfilled is to transform the way you perceive reality. It is to cease identifying with the world as it is, and to begin to live from the world as it will be. This requires an extraordinary level of faith in your own consciousness, a faith that what you are assuming is not mere fantasy, but the blueprint for the reality you are consciously creating. And yet, this transformation is not an external battle. It is a battle of the mind, an inner struggle between the vision of what you desire and the distractions of the external world, the noise of doubt, the contradictions of external appearances will constantly attempt to pull you back into the realm of logic and reasoning. But here is the key. Silence the mind and allow your assumption to take root. Silence is not simply the absence of speech. It is the absence of contradiction within your consciousness. It is a state where your assumption stands unchallenged, where no external evidence can sway you from the knowledge that your desire is already fulfilled. When you persist in assuming your wish fulfilled, you are not waiting for the outer world to conform. You are allowing the inner world to dictate the terms of your reality. Every thought, every assumption, every feeling you entertain is shaping the reality you will experience. And as you continue to persist, you will begin to see the evidence in the external world, for the world outside is merely a reflection of the world within. The art of assumption is the most profound and powerful tool available to you, for it allows you to create your own future. You are not bound by your past actions, by your current circumstances, or by the limitations of your senses. You are free to assume, to live as if your wish is already fulfilled, and in doing so, you release the power of creation from within. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to share it with someone who could use this reminder today. The power of assumption and living from your future is a gift, and it's one that can transform lives. Let's spread this wisdom and help others unlock their potential. Thank you for being here. And remember, your future begins now.